Did you know the world's busiest flight route is between, can you guess? Seoul and Jeju Island in South Korea. It's a domestic flight. The second busiest is between Sapporo and Tokyo. Both these routes get countless wide bodies and it's an incredible experience being on board. I flew the Korean Air 747-400 many times between Seoul and Jeju when I lived in Korea, and it never gets old. But what if I told you there's an even shorter route where you can fly one of my favorite airlines? Which means you'll also get some pretty sweet service during the short time you're on board. The distance between these cities is only 222 miles, yet several times a day, a mammoth 777-300ER graces the route with its presence. Today I'm taking potentially the shortest, most epic domestic flight in the world. So I'm flying to Izmir, right? And I really wish it was summer so I could make the most of this beautiful place. There's an incredible all-suite IHG hotel here that I've been wanting to try for ages. Believe it or not, today's video is actually sponsored by IHG. I stay at their hotels all the time and I'm a Platinum Elite and Ambassador member with them. Their properties include everything from luxury, intercontinental, and Six Senses to Crown Plaza and Holiday Inn. So odds are pretty high you've stayed at one of their hotels. What you may not know is how easy they're making it to earn status and points with them, which in turn gives you perks and free hotel stays. Starting in March, they're reworking their elite tiers. So at the most basic level, with only 10 nights, you get silver elite status, 20 nights get you their new gold elite status, all the way up to diamond, which gets you an industry-leading 100% points bonus. In addition, you can currently register to earn double points on all stays, and if you want my status, Platinum Elite, they currently have a campaign where you only need to stay 5 nights to earn that status. There's so much more to learn about IHG rewards at the link below. Flying a wide body is always fun. But there's something unimaginably special about flying a wide body on a short flight. There's something even more special about flying a wide body in business class on a short flight. Europe has a surprising number of busy domestic routes given the relatively short distances between everything. The first routes people think of might be Madrid to Barcelona, Frankfurt to Berlin, Rome to Milan. But there's only one country that consistently has a Boeing 777 scheduled on a domestic flight, and that is Turkey. There are so many busy domestic routes here between Istanbul and Antalya, Ankara, and Izmir. Located a 3-hour drive from Istanbul, it doesn't make much sense to fly to Izmir given that the airport is located 30 minutes north of Istanbul. You also need to arrive at least an hour before your 1-hour flight. Yet, a taxi can cost over $100, while a flight can cost $21 each way. Even crazier, business class starts at $79 each way, getting you a slew of perks I'm about to show you. Last week, I flew from Malé to Istanbul with a connection in Doha and decided to stay in Turkey for 2 days on the way home. My second evening there, I checked the Izmir route since I'd been eyeing it for a while and saw that while economy was almost sold out on tomorrow's morning flight, business was empty. So I figured, why not get up at 5 a.m. and find out if this is the world's coolest domestic flight, at least in terms of service to flight length ratio. The next morning, I arrived at Istanbul's main airport around 6:30 a.m. for my 8 a.m. departure. Good morning from a snowy Istanbul. What? The airport was pretty busy and I didn't reach the line for check-in until 6:45, so I was getting a little bit nervous. Thankfully, with a business class ticket, the line for check-in was about 1/10 as long as the regular one. But I didn't make it to the desk until 6:58, 2 minutes before check-in closed. Next was security, which was a breeze, and I was through to the domestic departures area by 7:05. Goodness gracious, isn't this different from the international part of the new airport? This seems like an afterthought, but it's by no means bad. Oh, I was gonna go to the lounge, but it's freaking far in the other direction, and I don't want to risk missing or being late to the flight. To my surprise, boarding had already started, and they were shuttling people to the plane for a good 45 minutes. It's a bus gate, which makes sense. I was wondering how there'd be a 777 here in the domestic part because it's probably come in from an international destination last night, so parked somewhere on the apron and now we gotta go get it. I missed the business class bus, which would normally be far more comfortable, but eventually made it across the airport to our 777-300ER registered TC-JJJ. What a satisfying registration. There's nothing like boarding a wide body on stairs. Pure ab geek pornography of the best kind. I was so close to asking if they could just strap me to the outside so I could enjoy this view during the flight instead. The Turkish 777-300ER comes in 2 configurations, and this is the more common one with 2 business class cabins. I chose the rear cabin purely for the engine view, which is how all normal people decide where to sit, right? But the forward cabin is probably preferable given that it's quieter and no one walks past you during boarding. 7K was my seat for the flight down to Izmir, and oh boy was I happy about it. Check out the cabin. Perspective is pretty funny sometimes. For long haul, this cabin is comfortable, it's pretty spacious, but it's still one of the least competitive products out there, largely due to the middle seat. A middle seat in business class in 2022 is just a complete joke when other airlines are offering full-on suites. Yet, on a 1-hour flight, this is enough to bring tears to your eyes. What a beautiful, comfortable product for a short domestic flight. What was even nicer, of course, was one of my 2 main in-flight obsessions that set a good flight apart from a mediocre one. Hot towels is the first, of course, which understandably weren't offered on such a short flight, and boarding music is the other. The crew was blasting the boarding music louder than I've ever heard it played before, and Turkish Airlines boarding tune is just divine and brings back so many good memories. I had my nerdy moment almost crying, swaying back and forth to it. Sexy logo on the wall alert! Anyhow, besides the middle seat, this layout is pretty underrated for traveling with other people. Not that I was, but since the seat next to me was empty, and pretty much the whole business cabin was for that matter, I got to enjoy the perks of the simple forward-facing seat. The leg and foot space is excellent, and in bed mode, there's no need to contort your body into weird positions or shove your feet into a small cubby. Charging ports are easily accessible, as are seat controls. Obviously, the seat does lack some privacy, but it has a privacy partition, although that isn't of much help. I was just glad to see the entertainment system work despite the short flight time, and even sort of amazed at the customization. They had a special domestic entertainment system with only short shows and a lot of Turkish content. Super smart to make sure that people don't leave unsatisfied that they couldn't finish their movies. The crew didn't hand out headphones, so I imagine it's a BYOH situation on these flights, but I didn't ask. As usual on Turkish, you get these hygiene kits with a mask and disinfecting wipes. After seeing that viral TikTok where an airplane seat tested positive for COVID-19, I cleaned more thoroughly than ever. Soon enough, we pushed back and headed to Izmir with a flight time of just 45 minutes. By the way, every time I upload a video, one of my subscribers wins an awesome prize, like this person who just won a $100 gift card with an airline of their choice. Don't miss out, click that button and join the Nonstop Nation. A word of caution, as always, when flying with Turkish. There are no individual air vents, so wear layers, because you're gonna need to strip. It gets hot on board. 20 minutes on the dot after takeoff, the crew served this beautiful breakfast. Wow, wow, wow. Given my last minute booking, I couldn't request a vegan meal, so here's a look at the regular one with a menu for reference. The fruit was great as could be, and I had it with some lemon mint a la Turkish. What a spread for a 45-minute flight. This is better than what US Airlines serve you on a 5-hour international route. I mean, I still have trauma from Delta serving a soggy sandwich as their main in Delta 1. Before I knew it, the seatbelt sign was on, so I quickly headed to the lavatory. The lavatory was surprisingly luxe and featured all the long-haul amenities from Molten Brown and this perfume. Although in recent years I've developed a perfume allergy, I think, so I wouldn't want to be spraying that and then making everyone think I was sick. Literally minutes later, we touched down in Izmir, taxied to our gate, and I headed to the lounge while the plane was cleaned and I waited for boarding back to Istanbul. Hi from the lounge in Izmir, guys. Flight 1 is done, flight 2 coming up. It goes so quick when you're doing a flight like this because everything is just bam, bam, bam. You have the takeoff, the landing, which are the really fun parts, and then the flight is like 20 minutes. So yeah, it's crazy short. Heading back already, and then tonight have an even more exciting, bit longer flight that you'll see in a different video. And time to go. You know, I was really wondering, is there actually need for a 777 on this route? Well, check out the seat map. The blue seats are occupied. Now the flight back was pretty much identical, so I'm not going to show the whole thing again, but I just want to share something super bizarre that happened. We taxied onto the runway, spooled up our engines, just to abort 2 seconds later and taxi off the runway. Oh my god, I thought, have we gone tech? I immediately got pretty worried about missing my connecting flight back to Sweden from Istanbul if anything happened, since that was on a separate ticket. Then the pilots retracted the flaps, which made me really think this is not good. But 5 minutes later, we were lined up ready for takeoff again, but with no flaps. To my horror, the pilots again spooled up the engines and we started moving with the flaps still up. They aborted the takeoff 2 seconds later, thankfully. We exited the runway, held on the taxiway, and eventually took off about 30 minutes after our initial takeoff attempt. Anyone have any idea what could have been up? Were the pilots out of their mind, or was our 777 being difficult? Why would anyone try to take off without flaps? Anyhow, to make up for lost time, we literally rocketed up to Istanbul in just 37 minutes from liftoff to touchdown. Most people hardly had time to begin eating before the crew had to remove the meal trays, which caused quite the scene. So my takeaway is that this is a mind-blowingly impressive experience. You might get something comparable on short routes between Doha, Dubai, Bahrain, and Muscat, but none of those are domestic, where airlines love to take the opportunity to cut down on service given the lack of competition. Despite being the only airline to offer business class domestically, Turkish Airlines delivers a fun, premium-feeling flight made 10 times better when you have the pleasure of flying a wide body. You can find my flight numbers listed below if you want to catch this flight as well, and I've listed some others that might feature the 777, but always check before booking. Now, a question for you guys. Have you taken a domestic flight under 1 hour that's even better than this? If so, please share with us in the comments because I'd love to compare. Teşekkür for watching, and until I see you all next time, my friends, fly safe.